Hi everyone, my name is Holly. I am an empowerment coach for women. Thank you so much for joining today. Today I am going to be talking about why people hurt us and how we can actually protect ourselves and become indestructible in the way that we handle the level of influence that people have over us when they do something that causes us pain. I work with women all over the world, and my clients, I hear the same thing so frequently, where they will say to me, Holly, I'm in a relationship, or I've been in a relationship where I am just constantly getting mistreated and I'm being treated disrespectfully, I'm being hurt and being caused a lot of pain by my partner. And they're either, as I said, in the relationship, or they've come out of the relationship but they're still pining after that person, they still want to be with that person, or they're struggling to break free from the relationship. And despite being treated so terribly, they'll say to me, you know, I love him, I don't know what to do, I just can't seem to get him out of my system. And a lot of friends and family, as you probably know, when we have such deep emotions for others, it makes it so complex, and it makes the decisions that we have to ultimately make that much harder. And unfortunately our heart always rules our heads. When friends and family talk to us about it, they'll say things like, oh, you know, why don't you just leave, or what, you know, just get over him, he's no good, he's an asshole, he's this, he's that, you know, you're worth so much more. And yeah, in theory that's true, and consciously we're aware of it, but it's just so hard for us to be able to do that sometimes. So that's what today is really about, is it's about me talking in terms of, one, why people do hurt us and why they act the way they do, and secondly, how you can empower yourself to start to really take back that power and be your own person, and not allow someone who is mistreating you in whatever way that might be to control you and to make you feel 2 inches tall. I'm all for living with an open heart, and I'm all for seeing the best in people, but there has to be boundaries and there has to be balance, because otherwise you're going to get abused and you're going to be vulnerable and open to people walking all over you, pretty much. And if you stay with me until the end of the video, I am going to be showing you a 2-minute technique that will help you on a subconscious level actually change the way you think and feel about a person. And again, that will help you to start to actually change your entire opinion towards them, and help you to have more control in terms of how much they can really hurt you, because a person can only really hurt you if you give them that permission. The first reason as to why people hurt us is because they are miserable, and there is strong evidence to prove this, such as if you think back to a time when you were really happy in your life, or you were just having a really good day. You woke up, you know, life was easy, the sun was shining, you were going out with mates, you just had a really good day and things were flowing and everything just felt like it was effortless, and you had no real worries or stress. You were just in a good mood for whatever reason. When you were having that particular day or that particular phase in your life perhaps, did you at any point think, I'm going to be really horrible to someone, I'm going to be mean, I'm going to say something that's going to hurt another person? No. Why? Because you just weren't in that headspace. It wouldn't have been on your radar to even think along those lines. Normally when we're really happy, we boost other people and people want to be around us. So when someone is miserable, you think about when you're having a bad day or you're going through a bad patch in your own life. What usually happens is you will see, and I know I've done it before, you'll see someone who is actually quite happy and all like bubbly, and you'll look at them and you'll think, do you know what, you're really getting on my nerves, like just go away. And you'll either not want to be around them, or you will deliberately say something. If they're sort of there and they're annoying you, you will say something to like upset them. You'll just be negative, because part of you will think, well, you know, why is it that you're so happy and I'm not? And people who hurt us, maybe it's a conscious thing, maybe it's not, but usually that's precisely why they do it, because it's a direct reflection of what's going on for them deep down. And the way that you can protect yourself, if you're in a relationship with someone, or you've got friends, people in your life who are quite miserable and negative, the best way for you to be able to protect yourself and stop them from inflicting that upon you and bringing you down when you're in a good mood, is to remind yourself of all the things that actually make you a lovely person and make you a positive person, and why you have good, decent, genuine friends that like to be around you. Because when you start to recognize those great qualities that you have within yourself, what it helps you to do is see the contrast between you and that other person. Because we do tend to spend a lot of our time, especially when it's people who we are in love with, or, you know, we have kind of romantic illusions of, we will paint this amazing picture of them in our head and act almost as if like, oh, you know, they're so good, and we forget about all that bad stuff. But by identifying theirs and identifying your good points and comparing the two, that really helps you to see the contrast, and it just helps you to see things from a different perspective. The second reason as to why people deliberately hurt us is because they have no real direction in their lives. And this is kind of similar to my first point, in that they're miserable, but it's not just that they're miserable, they're having a bad day. Usually people who will go out of their way now to hurt you, and they hurt you repeatedly, are people who, they are confused, they're lost in their own life, they don't really have much of a direction, they are frustrated, they're angry, they're probably carrying around all sorts of negative emotion within them, and they gravitate towards people who are happy and who are clued up and who are taking charge of their lives and facing their fears. And I actually brought out a video very recently that talked about other people and not listening to other people's opinions, and I touched upon this point in my video, where I said how other people do have a habit of projecting their own fears and insecurities onto us. And again, that could be something that they do deliberately because they don't like to see other people happy, or they are not aware of it and it's just something that naturally oozes out of them and they don't have any self-awareness. And what happens is, when they see another person who's happy and who is in charge and their life's going well and they seem to have everything kind of, you know, sussed. No one's perfect, of course, and we all have our problems, but people such as yourself perhaps, or me, or my clients, who are constantly attracting people who take advantage of them and just abuse them for no good reason, it's usually because those people want something that we've got, and they see that we have that clarity, we have that vision, we've got dreams, we've got plans, and it annoys them, and they want to bring us down to their level, because they themselves don't have much self-awareness, and they don't have the balls to actually take their own life with both hands and be responsible for their own happiness. So, and this can work in two ways. There are two types of people in this scenario, in this example that I'm going to give. The first is people will just be nasty and they will just be critical and they will judge you for no good reason, and they'll just literally try and hurt you just by spouting off verbal abuse and being cynical or whatever. The second way, and this is when it comes to people who are actually genuinely abusive, they will come wearing masks and they will be nice, and in terms of a relationship they'll probably be very manipulative, and they'll use a lot of reverse psychology, and they'll pull on your heartstrings and tell you everything that you want to hear, and that's usually when they're wanting to get something from you. And then what will happen is they will then hit you with something out of left field. They will switch on you, they'll make a promise and then they'll go back on it. And people like that are probably actually the most dangerous, because they have no conscience whatsoever, and they are very quick to just use people for whatever it is that they can get, and hurt people, and take someone who actually does have an open heart, who is genuine, who does want to trust and want to build fulfilling relationships. They will use all that they can get, and then they'll throw it back in that person's face. The way in which you can protect yourself from people like that, or at least start to feel more in control and limit the sort of pain that's being put on you by people like that, is to surround yourself with friends and family and people who actually do bring out the best in you, not the worst. And that could be people who you can always tell in relationships, because you might be thinking now, well, Holly, you know, if I'm in love with this particular guy and, you know, when I'm with him I feel really good, but okay, what if he is abusing you? What if he is being nasty to you and he is very inconsistent in the way that he behaves with his actions? Well, in that case, he's probably not the best person for you to spend too much time with. And I'm not saying break free from the relationship, dump him, get rid of him, that's it, forever done, because as we discussed, that's not easy. But what you can do is you can start to actually think about the people you're spending most of your time with. It's about looking at people who you aspire to be like, people who, as I mentioned, motivate you, that you can think, right, well, you know what, I'd love to be more like that, or I'd like to be more like this. There's a quote that I actually read a few weeks back, and it said about, if you want to know where you're going to be this time next year, the greatest indication to that is, it was basically along the lines of, you can tell by the people that you surround yourself with and the books that you read. Those are the two key indicators. Those people who are true to themselves, who know where they're going in life and who know what they want, those are the people who you want to be around. People who love you and who respect you and who just make you feel good and make you feel happy. Not people who are just one big source of stress and anxiety. The third reason as to why people choose to hurt us is that they have usually had the same thing done to them. So, in other words, whatever they are doing to you, whatever way they are mistreating you and making you feel like shit, is 9 times out of 10 because they've had exactly the same done to them. Now, whether that be in other relationships or as a child, you know, maybe their parents treated them really badly, they in some way or other have been abused themselves. I don't know if you're familiar with the expression that the abused becomes the abuser, and that's very true. Not in all cases. You know, some people can say, do you know what, actually that's not me. I myself have been abused in all sorts of ways by men since I was a child, and you know, that's one of the reasons why I've actually decided to become an empowerment coach for women, because I thought, no, I want to use all my bad experience and put it to some good use, because if anything, that justifies it. So there are, of course, people, and I'm sure you can relate to as well, where we've had bad experiences and we think, okay, no, I'm not going to allow that to define me as a person. Other people, unfortunately, aren't that strong, and they just end up repeating the same patterns. And again, it's about having a lack of self-awareness. They are scared, they're fearful, they're frustrated, they're confused, they don't quite know what to do, and it just becomes an inevitable thing where, as a defense mechanism to prevent themselves from getting hurt, they end up treating other people exactly the same way that they've been treated, which is awful. And a person who is very manipulative, an abuser, a typical, perpetrator, will often sometimes be fully open to saying, yes, I've had this happen to me, and I've had that happen to me. I had a terrible childhood, and they will try to use those bad experiences as a way to justify their bad behaviour. And people who are similar to ourselves, people who are empaths and who are good people in general, and they're nice and decent people who've got integrity, they will try to, it's within us to try and fix people and try and wave a magic wand and make it all better. And unfortunately, that's why we tend to attract people who they spot us a mile off, and they will try to take advantage in whatever way they can. So the way you can protect yourself from that kind of treatment is by understanding that, yes, okay, they've had their own bad experiences, but instead of using that as a reason to stick around and to carry on with that relationship, whether it be a romantic relationship or friendship, whatever, and pouring your energy into it and basically just being drained and exhausted by this person because they're just constantly taking from you. Have compassion, but start to actually see them for what they really are, in terms of someone who is actually playing the victim and who is using their bad circumstances or experiences that they've had in the past to justify the way they're treating you. That's not right, and that's not healthy, because there is no excuse for treating someone badly. You know that, and I know that, and I'm sure that being, or at least trying to be, a good person, a nice person on a daily basis, one of the reasons why you're watching this video is because you do pour your love and your heart and soul into a relationship, and you do the best that you can, and when you don't get that back, it hurts. And we do tend to criticize ourselves more than anyone else. Don't fall into that trap, because there are manipulators out there who will deliberately use their own suffering to justify their bad behaviour towards you and make you feel bad. So do not allow them to do that to you. As promised, I am now going to do a very short exercise with you, which is going to teach you how you can actually start to reprogram your mind in changing the way you think and feel about a person. As I mentioned already throughout this video, we tend to romanticize someone, especially if it's someone we're in love with, we're infatuated with, we fancy, whatever. In terms of love, it's a mistake that we all make. We're all guilty of it. We forget about all the shit that they've thrown at us, and we tend to be like, oh, I remember this and I remember that, and we get completely carried away. So this exercise is going to teach you how to completely turn that on its head, so that you can take back your power and you can be more in control. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to close your eyes, and I would like you to visualize that particular person, a lover, friend, whoever it might be, someone who is hurting you and abusing you right now and causing a lot of pain. And so see them clearly in your mind's eye, and I want you to start to think about all the things that they've done to you, all the situations that they've put you in that have really hurt and that have made you feel really low, And if you want to, it depends on how comfortable you feel, but if you would like to, think about a particular memory or a time where they hurt you the most, mentally, emotionally, the scenario, what happened. Really step into that feeling and that emotion. Now again, there might be some horrible experiences that you would have endured, so I don't want you to do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, but try and really get the emotion going of how they made you feel, or how they have made you feel in the past, where they have belittled you and made you feel like you weren't good enough and made you feel sad and upset, and they've really hurt you and created a lot of pain. And what I would like you to do is, now I want you to picture in that person in your mind. I want you to push them away from you. I want you to use all that anger and upset and all that frustration, whatever negative emotions are surfacing for you right now, and I want you to use all of that as your ammunition, and I want you to push them away in your head. See yourself actually pushing them away and telling them, no, enough is enough. Go away and distance yourself from them. Physically see yourself moving away from them, pushing them away from you, whatever comes naturally, just go with it. And if there's anything you want to say to them, say it. When you're ready, open your eyes. Now that is a very quick, simple exercise, and the whole point behind that exercise is the mind. What you have to remember about the mind is that it only cares about keeping us alive. That's its main goal, is keeping us alive. It doesn't care about love or passion or romance, money, ambition, success, dreams, goals, things like that. It doesn't really care. All it cares about is keeping us alive, and what it will do is it will associate either pain or pleasure to something. And when I say something, I mean everything. You know, people have phobias over pens and the most random of things, but it's because they've had a bad experience in the past, or they've been told from a young child that's not good, or that's good. So what the mind does is, as a form of protection, it will associate either pain or pleasure to something, and of course that works with people as well. So by doing a simple exercise like that every single day, where you focus more on the negative rather than the positive, in terms of someone who is abusive towards you, who you don't really want to be in a relationship with, or you want to get over an ex, anything like that, you can start to actually play with your mind in that way, because the mind is very quick and it will catch up, and it will, in the end, literally within a week or two of doing an exercise like that on a daily basis, it will start to associate more pain with that person up here subconsciously than it will pleasure, and you will actually start to negatively get triggered when you think of that person. So it's a really powerful tool. I suggest you do it, and yeah, take back your power, because happiness is a choice. We are subjected to pain by people all the time in different ways and to different degrees, but suffering is a choice. Happiness or suffering is completely up to you. You don't have to put up with second best, and you are in complete control of your own happiness and your own life. So I really hope that's helped. If you are interested in working with me on a one-to-one basis, as I said, I am an empowerment coach. I work with women all over the world, helping them to change the way they think and feel about themselves and create more fulfilling lives and relationships. If you would like to contact me, my email is holly@thinktranquility.com, and that is also below as well. So I hope you've enjoyed my video today. I hope I've been able to help you. Please feel free to subscribe to my channel for weekly updates and videos, and you can also leave any comments that you have. If you'd like to share some experiences or stories of your own, I would love to hear from you. Thank you very much, take care, and I'll speak with you soon.